All right, welcome everyone. I could actually put this on a workstation with Kat. Today, Potato is joining us. You can see he's there in the lower right-hand corner. He likes to sleep on my Mac Mini, so I thought that I would just add him sleeping to the stream. And in today's stream, I will be talking about what it's like to write a tech book. I was floored because, as y'all probably know, like I'm completely obsessed with Windows PowerShell in Action by Bruce Payette, and I've been a technical editor before. Manning, I love their books. Reading, PowerShell in a Month of Lunches or Windows PowerShell in Action is just like having someone talk to me, and it was kind of a dream to be able to do something like that for other people. And so back in, I don't know, maybe November or so, I had submitted a proposal to Manning, and working with them has been really incredible. Oh, you know what I just realized? I'm so sorry. I don't have my chat up here, so let me go there. Wow, 9 viewers. Hello, everyone. Let's see. So let me go ahead and export the chat so I can see it. And also fix this. Excellent. So what I'm going to do today, I actually have a chapter that's due, and I'll show you what it's like. Manning to me is really the top of the publishing. Like, I don't really know a whole lot about publishers and stuff like that. Hey, yes. I did. I took a month off. I didn't want to, but man, I have so much to do in addition to this book and in addition to kind of changing my roles at work. I have to, I have to deliver 3 new sessions, or sorry, what's it called? Presentations. And it's been extraordinarily hard and taxing. And so it's right. Everybody always says, this is actually the hardest thing that you'll ever do. And I was like, cool, I'm ready. And then it's the hardest thing that I've ever done. And I'm just, I haven't delivered all that much. There's a whole lot of interesting dread writing. So whenever I did get my master's degree, but whenever you're writing a paper for your master's, you are basically talking to your professor and trying to get your point across to your professor. And you're basically saying, I learned this topic and I'm going to show you how I learned this topic. But writing a book is taking something and simplifying it, making it original, because I blog a lot about DBA tools, and I don't want to just repeat the same thing. Lou's taking pictures of me. I don't know why. And I just don't want to repeat the same thing, right? And so I need to come up with original content. And some things that I've done is I went and I looked at other books to see what people like about them and what they didn't. And there's just a lot more pressure, because instead of proving to one person that you know a topic, you actually have to teach a topic. And so this is harder, in my opinion, than a master's degree. It is harder than writing a blog post, because it feels like not so much is on the line when you're writing a blog post. And so, but it is extremely exciting. Like, it was, I think I've been wanting to write a book for a very, very long time. You remember the Rocks books, where you had like Robert Vieira teaching SQL Server 2000, and I was like, wow, like to be at Barnes and Nobles or to be at Borders, this is incredible. And so it's always been something that I've wanted to do. And I apologize for the rendering on my screen. It's not you, it's me. I did write 1 solid chapter so far, and I've been at this for a while. It is so hard for me to write intro stuff. Like, my weakness is intros, segues, and conclusions. And it feels like that's what a whole book is. So I want to walk everyone through what it's like. The first thing that you have to do is get the book accepted. And what I did was I wrote this proposal, and this is specifically Manning Press. This is how they work, right? So first of all, you get a box account that has these incredible author resources. And looking at this, like, this is what I always expected of a company, of a publishing company. This is incredible. Like, they have their styles, right? A manual of style, which is so awesome. I didn't expect it. I was kind of hoping for one. And then there it was. Like, they have their manuals, their styles. It tells you how to write your chapters. They walk you through planning your chapters. Even like the series descriptions and guidelines. I use this a lot. So we're writing, Rob Sewell and I are writing DBA tools for SQL Server in a month of lunches. And so we have this series guide that we go through that basically talks about the tone. We get assigned what's it called? An editor, but it's not exactly a technical editor. You get like a content editor, but it starts with a D. It's not descriptive editor. I don't know. Anyway, you get assigned an editor, and ours, she is so amazing. It's really clear. As soon as we got off the phone, I knew that she was a writer and that she was probably like super well educated and like had some degree in, in writing or whatever. And I looked her up and she was as qualified as I thought. So anyway, writing for them has been just a really great learning experience. And the way that it all started was when I went here, I downloaded, like, if you look up, let's see, Become an Author Manning. So it's like right for us, right? So you go here and, let me turn off my amazing dark reader. Oh, actually, no, I'll just leave it on. Okay. So you have to download this Manning proposal. So let's take a look at it. So you go through, and I spent a ton of time writing all of this. And then I called them. Actually, they called me, and I still remember, actually, the day that I got the book contract was the day that I graduated. And I was like, man, I was so blown away. It was like actually one of the best days of my life. And so I sent that, and I can actually show you what mine looked like. So, after you submit your proposal and after you get accepted. Well, actually, you don't get accepted. You go through like the first thing and they're like, hey, this actually interests us. We're going to pass it around. So then they sent it out to a bunch of people. And then we got reviews for it, right? Because they need to get a feel for if the community wants it. And this is what my proposal looked like. So it says, tell us about yourself. And so I did. And, they asked things like, do you have any unique characteristics? And since I am the maintainer for DBA tools, that was something that I had listed. And you go through. Now, what was interesting to me is that initially, and we could go through this. Initially, you see the table of contents. I had just I looked at all of the other month of lunches, and then I kind of put something together. And when I was on the phone with the guy, he said, all right, we want to know like what is going to happen once the person is done with this chapter. So I spent, I don't know, I think it was like 6 hours, because you really want to be concise and you really want to be thorough. And it feels like there's so much at stake, right? Because I don't know, I've never done this before. And I wondered, like, what if I say like contacting us and then either it doesn't make it, or is this like a promise that I'm making to the publisher? It turns out it's way more chill than that. And so I went through, and I really expected that they would come back and kind of rewrite the talk. And it makes sense that there wasn't a big rewrite. There was clarification, essentially. So a lot more is put on me and Rob for the outline and stuff like that. I don't know why. I thought that somebody like sat around and made talks for topics that they didn't necessarily know about. So this is what all of our talks look like. And what I decided was that, I don't like this. Let me see here. Okay. So you go through the first one, right? And I feel like intros are the hardest things possible. But I went through the intro, and then there's installing, which is really hard because I thought that I was going to talk about the security posture of PowerShell and DBA tools. But I ended up just kind of skimming over it because one of the hardest things is to make sure that you're talking about like one specific thing. What's really nice though is that you can, since they have something called live books, which are interactive, you could just say, click on this link and then go there. So chapter 3, setting up the lab environment. That's something that we'll be waiting for. Using the help system and docs. I didn't realize that was an entire chapter. I just condensed that into 2 paragraphs. Maybe we had changed it. Writing to SQL Server. So then Rob and I, we talked about how we're going to split up everything, and you basically go through whoever is stronger at something. So I believe that Rob would come up with more exciting examples as to what to write to SQL Server. For me, I've actually written a blog post about finding SQL Server instances on your network. I've talked about it for a number of years, actually. If you go to, let me see if I can find this. That's something that I do when I first start as a DBA. I go to a place and then I find the SQL servers. Find SQL Server. Let's see. No. I don't know what I would have written about connecting. But I remember writing a blog post about what I do. Oh, there it is. So in 2012, I had started at a new customer, and I wrote about the things that I had to do. Whenever you first start, you have to find them because nobody will ever give you a complete list of SQL servers on your network. It's never happened before. At this particular customer I went to, they're like, here's some IPs and where the backups go for that IP. And I was like, what version? What am I working with? And I didn't have any of that information, so I had to come up with it myself. And here you can see I used a little bit of PowerShell. Oh, this? Yeah, wow, Echo. Is that? All right, I'm back, I think. Let's see. Yes, that was easier than I expected, fortunately. So it's been changed. And I didn't even create a new one. So I'm just going to have to, that's for later, Chrissy. So anyway, I was really excited because, I guess I used a script from Colin Smith. Oh my God, Colin Smith. Let's see what it does. So we get, see now, I'm so OCD. This has to be a capital G and a capital C. So echo these things for each server in servers, which is good enough. Let's see. Ooh, some WMI objects. Where what? Oh, I wonder why I didn't use, because I was just copy pasting. So instead of get WMI object, I think that now I would have just used get service dash computer. Let's see. Get service. Computer name? Yeah, that's what I'd have done. It's gone through in each of them. That's good enough. The problem with this, okay, all right. So potentially this might only find the default instance, but that's a really solid way of doing it. Anyway, so that's the way that we wrote the book was that we, the first thing that you do is, let's see. So before you begin, you have to talk about why data professionals can't afford to ignore PowerShell. Oh, and let me actually talk about asciidoc FX just real quick. Spell checker. This doesn't really work well, so I'm just going to go to this. Initially, I wanted to use VS Code, and VS Code has an asciidoc, which is it's a format. So we write things with .adoc, and VS Code just didn't really make it pretty. Like whenever I look to the right and I look at this preview, I can see my book, which was really exciting and it was really motivating. So I switched to this, and this is what it looks like. And it looks like a real book. It's so freaking cool. I love this. So that's what we use instead of VS Code. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So I took all of the things that I wrote in that proposal, right? Like each of these, finding SQL Servers, which is what I'm going to be talking about today and working on. And this is an experiment, so it might be that I can't write in front of an audience. If you're wondering, Manning is super awesome. There is as great of a company as I thought. I actually had a contracts attorney look over the contract that they sent me, and they said that it was one of the most fairest and best written contracts that this contracts attorney had seen. The person felt very good towards Manning. So yeah, working with them is just positive thing after positive thing. And one of the things that they said, they were like, look, live stream talking about it. You can, like, this is your project and promote it however you want. So this is something that's completely condoned by Manning, which is really cool. So yeah, went through each of these chapters. So, you know, we have backup, restore, building a dedicated test backup server. We talk about migrations. And basically what happens is, you know, you do your install, then you learn how to write to SQL Server, because a lot of people like that. And the first thing you need to do as a DBA starting somewhere is find your SQL servers, right? Then you add them to an inventory. Next, you learn about Central Management Server, which is a way that you can maintain that inventory. The first thing that you want to do after finding all of your instances and centralizing that inventory is to do backups, and then also restores. And, you know, from there, you want to, you know, do some migrations that plays well with the previous two chapters. We have some tracking logins. After working with databases, you need to manage your logins and users, and then we go from there. So each step kind of builds on itself. And then I took all of these after we had a lot of discussions. We had people who were technical and non-technical, people who were, you know, tech editors who didn't necessarily know the technology, went back and forth. Oh, and then just real quick, then Manning sent out my proposal to the community, and we got a bunch of reviews. And I think I think that they sent it out to 7 people, and we needed, I think, a majority. I don't know what extent of a majority for those people to be excited about it. There was just one person who didn't work with PowerShell, and I think was a fan of Bash. Not that you can't, you know, not that it's mutually exclusive, but they didn't really like PowerShell. They never worked with SQL Server. And so they're like, I wouldn't read this book. But what I did like about their review is that they were a little harsh in their stuff. And I was like, this is actually great. I kind of need somebody who's critical, because they mentioned we didn't have like a DevOps chapter and we didn't have a cloud chapter. And I was like, oh, of course. So that was stuff that we added in. So yeah, then from there, we were given the choice. You can write in Word, you can write in ADoc, you can write in everything like that. And I picked ADoc because it seemed to be like, look, you could do HTML, PDF, ebook. It seemed to be the one that made the most sense. I can't imagine writing a book in Microsoft Word. It seems like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's hard to even place a picture in Word for me. So yeah, went with this, and then took each of these here, you're going through. Ooh, yeah, I was told, like, why are you going to concentrate on database mail? And the answer from me is database mail is a big pain. It's invisible. And it's invisible like in here. Let's go here. I'm going to connect to a local instance so that it's faster. Localhost, probably, hopefully. So when we go to database mail, look at this. Like, I want to expand it. And what's nice about PowerShell is that it can make this become visible, but people are like, is it relevant enough for a whole chapter in a book? And the answer was no. So I took that out and we replaced it probably with DevOps and cloud stuff. So this looks like one of the first proposals that was written. So then take that and then you break it up. Let's look at chapter 7. This is what was part of the proposal, and then ideas that, you know, maybe I just had along the way. And that way we just have an idea of what we had promised the publisher and what we need to deliver. So I'm really excited because I don't know why it's formatted like this, so just ignore it. And I don't even know if this is actually formatted properly. I submitted it, and so we're waiting for a response about that. What I like about it, though, is that I had never before taken the time to see, you know, like when it comes to each of the servers, SQL Server 7, SQL 2000, 2005, and so on, how much of our tool set supports that. And it's interesting to me, even as an end user, as a reader, to see this information. So I was excited to come up with that. So you can see here, you know, we don't support Vista, Windows Server. And I like this, 75% of our commands work on Mac OS and Linux. The ones that don't are SIM-based. And so I don't know if SIM is ever going to work with Mac and Linux. If anybody's on the feed and they know, then that would be interesting. How's Potato doing? Oh, now you're just seeing Potato, you left the stream. SIM-based doesn't work. So SIM is Windows, and this is my understanding. SIM is a Windows technology because it queries an API, and so that's why. Let's see. I actually have my terminal up here. I don't even think that it worked. Let's see. Get SIM, and then I tab, and nothing's there. Yeah. So SIM does not work. Hey, thank you so much for the, let's see. Follower subscription. I can't tell. I don't have that. Oh, hey, thank you. I love follows and subscriptions. I felt so bad because I was offline for so long. Actually, I went to TwitchCon, did that. It was super cool. It was the first of all, it still blows my mind that that there's all these video game conferences. Second, it was the topics were interesting, though I thought that they would be more technical, and every single one of the sessions that we went to was a panel. And I was actually kind of expecting that the live streaming 101 would talk about resolutions and things like that, and then they didn't. So it was panels of people talking. Thank you both so much for the follow. I super appreciate it. So going through this, yeah, you know, I actually had never broken down the ports. And that was something that I had to do for this. I talk about WMI. And what I wanted was I wanted to bring comfort and familiarity to DBAs who are used to looking at the SQL Server Configuration Manager and seeing the equivalent of that in the book. So we talk about this Configuration Manager and then WS Management, remoting, and things like that. Oof. Execution policy. So this was really cool when I was talking to my, oh, that's what it is. DE is development editor. So you're developing a book. And a book is called a manuscript, which I didn't realize until I was doing this. And then a tweet said, I finally turned in my manuscript. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. So I turned in my manuscript and check it out. It says manuscript. And then I think this is where, yeah, you have,
how come you don't want me, man?
this is where you put the finals, but our finals are not there yet. So with execution policy, I ended up filing a bug report with the docs because it's really hard to explain it. And what I loved about, I was Skyping with my DE, my development editor, and she's like, and I said, I don't know what to say about execution policy because it's kind of hard to understand, and that makes explaining it even more tricky, right? Because people think that execution policies are a security mechanism when really they are a safety mechanism. They're like, what's the difference? And she's like, say that. And I was like, oh, I could just say that. And so that's what you see here. Initially, we found execution policies hard to understand, and explaining them is a bit tricky. Most people believe that execution policies and so on. And so it's cool that when you're talking to someone, every single time she's like, say that, say that, say that. So what I'm hoping maybe is that as I'm talking to you guys and I'm writing the chapter, which is about to come up momentarily, that that it will, you know, maybe in talking to you, I could write down some ideas for the book. So yeah, we talked about execution policy and signed software. I don't know, for those of you who are PowerShell people, did you find this concept easy to understand? Because initially whenever I was started, I didn't. And then I was like, oh, you could just bypass stuff. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. So yeah, this is the most complete chapter that I have written. Rob is a writing master and he's just busting stuff out left and right. And it's really cool because Rob will, he wrote his chapters faster than I did. So I basically just copied and pasted, and that's what this is. I don't know about ADOC. So I just copied and pasted off of him. And I actually think that this is going to be edited even more once we get the feedback from Manning. So right now we have two authors, me and Rob Sewell, and then we have one of our own technical editors, which is Claudio Silva, and we hand it to the publication or the publisher, and they have a development editor and a technical editor. And it's been a really, really cool process, but a very hard one. This took me weeks to write because it's hard to simplify and make things succinct and interesting. Also, if you want to be a technical editor for Manning, technical editor Manning. I mean, they're just my favorite publisher, but you can do this for any publisher. Oh, that's an on-site contract. I actually don't know what they pay technical editors. Let's see. Oh, wow. They pay their people good too. That is awesome. I love Manning. Oh, look, they did the same thing. So let me make sure that I could do this for the audience. The contract. Yeah, we get deadlines and stuff like that. This is a really, really cool blog post. And there we go. I'm actually going to read it for my own self because, again, I mean, it is, if I'm supposed to deliver the entire manuscript by December, I really only have 2 chapters written, and there's 26 of them. Now, what I've been told is that it gets easier and faster, and I believe that. So But I expect to have 7 chapters turned in by like May. Tools for writing. Yeah, Manning uses Box. They do. They have so many author resources. It is really, really, really nice. But I swear there was a technical editor position. Technical editor. Oh yeah, the acquisition editor. He was super cool too. In talking to him, that's when I realized that I really, really love DBA tools and I really, really love PowerShell. I remember I was sitting in my car outside work and I was on the phone with them, and it was just so exciting that he's like, hey, this is really interesting. And he was like, tell me about it. And it was so easy to just talk off the top of my head about why PowerShell is so perfect for data professionals. I am going to find this. So we're going to do this. Okay, here's write for us. Because I saw the link just the other day. Oh, and I also want to show you a live book. A sign in. Those live books are super cool. If you're wondering why my screen is black, that is not Manning. They don't have a black theme to my knowledge, or a dark theme. Like, it looks like I turned it off for this. Yeah, so this is Dark Reader. It's a Chrome plugin. But check this out. So this is also really awesome. Manning gave me a ton of books so that I can go through them. And I also have some books in person too. I'm gonna look. Oh yeah. So this was one. This was one that I got. Haha. Sorry, my green screen is like messing stuff up. So this is SQL Server Administration in a Month of Lunches. And I kind of go through here sometimes to see. So what I like about Manning books is that they have a lot of like media in their books, right? Pictures, screenshots, and so on. And that's part of the whole style of it. So here we have all of this. So we get all of these books. It's my favorite book. Oh, actually, Elastic Leadership I bought on Amazon, and I must have put in a code. So Live Book is really incredible because you can search it, but it's like way more than searching. You can highlight things. It's really pretty. Check this out. I didn't even realize this. You could just copy it. Yeah, these Live books are just fantastic technology. And that's also, so as I'm writing and I have a question about, so PowerShell in a Month of Lunches is probably one of Manning's best-selling books ever. I believe that it's the #1 selling book for PowerShell itself. It is pretty much the Bible for PowerShell. If somebody's like, hey, how do we start? If you go to dbatools.io/start, we recommend it there. We recommend anytime that somebody's like, what do you want? How do I learn this? It's PowerShell in a Month of Lunches. This is also not dark themed, except that I use the Dark Reader. And it looks like I haven't been to the site in a while. I need to check my comments. So, where was I? Oh yeah. No, I still don't know. I'm about to get a Red Bull. But this is going to be so cool that whenever people just be able to copy. Hello! How are you? Eric. I'm just talking about writing DBA tools for SQL Server in a Month of Lunches for Manning. Giving a little tour. This is the proposal that got some reviews, that got through the process. And this is the tool that's used. So chapter 2, already turned that in. And actually we we do use Git. We use GitLab. Manning has a GitLab that we submit our stuff through. And then we also, we as in Rob and I, we have, you could type this in and it'll just go through a private repository, so you can't really see this. But so yeah, so here's the month of lunches repo. So we're doing it through here. Awesome. Let's see. So I said, I know Kaylin mentioned she was going to focus more on training sessions instead of writing the internals books because of the new yearly, oh, that's interesting, release cycles, making it hard to stay relevant in books. This is almost directly translates into your book, and basically all of your points are changeable within the next year. For instance, the DBA tools commandlets are always undergoing changes to the parameters. How do I, as an author, feel about writing about something that may have completely changed by that time? And no problem at all. Thank you so much for the question. So what I want to do, whenever I went to Amazon and I saw a poorly rated book, a lot of times the reason that it's poorly rated is because the examples don't work. So what we are going to do is put each of the examples that are that's in the book into a pester test that's run against DBA tools. So yes, right now we're changing the parameters, we're changing even some names, but DBA tools 1.0, that's going to be the end of all of those breaking changes, and that's going to happen. I know that the timeline has slipped, and it's because like sometimes I go through burnouts, and man, whenever I'm like pumped and I'm coding and I'm submitting like 3 PRs a day, I project very poorly into the future. I'm like, oh, I'll be able to keep up like 4 PRs a day for 6 months, and then I'll just have this done, and that's never the case. So the last time, I think it was February that I was on a roll, I thought that, oh, it'd be like April, but it's not April. However, there is a strict deadline at Data Grillen in Lingen, Germany. We are going to debut DBA Tools 1.0. So that's June, right? And this book is going to be turned in hopefully in December. And that means that all of those breaking changes will have stopped. And essentially what I'm going to do is write tests for every single one of the commands in the book, put that into the repo. So anytime that you that you perform a commit, it will execute that code to ensure that it works. And if it turns out that, let's say that a parameter name changes, what I would do is probably put a warning. That would be, let's just say that something has to break, which I don't believe that it'll have to, but I want this book to stay relevant for years. Then it would basically give a warning. This command, this parameter is deprecated. Thank you for reading the book. Here's how you would do it. And so the person can just copy and paste that. That is really interesting about Kaylin, though, because yeah, books do take a really long time. Like one of my favorites is, I wrote to this guy. So this SQL Server 2008 Administration in Action, and it was just so well written. So it's Rob College, and the foreword is by Kevin Kline. And I wrote to him, and I was like, man, when are you going to write the update for this? And he said, writing a book. He said, the reason that you love that book so very much is because so much work has been put into it. And he said, now I have kids and stuff. He said, I don't see myself having the time to write a follow-up. And so I could see why Kaylin doesn't have the time to write about those internals. Like this is going to be a relatively, I guess, a decent sized book, but it'll still take a year for us to finish. So I hope that answers your question. It is hot as hell in here. Give me a second. Okay. I agree. Yeah. The PowerShell. So Core Bob said, I'd like to think that the DBA Tools book would be akin to the PowerShell 3 and newer. They may be outdated, but the content is still relevant. Yeah, I would agree too. That's a really good point, because we actually write for PowerShell 3. And those books are still relevant as well. So one thing about this asciidoc effects is each time I have to go to the spell checker, it's probably just a bug or something. Because I did go to settings. Oh, and I want to show y'all something else that's really cool. It's because I went to settings here. So they have the Dracula theme, which is cool. And my default document language is EN, but it doesn't work. What I did like about this, and this was something that that BS Code did not offer, is an outline. So as I'm writing chapter 2, let me go back to my preview. You can see this is how the outline looks. And I think yesterday I was looking at chapter 4. And so this is how that looked. So today's chapter is, got my little to-do list. All right, so finding SQL Server instances on your network. I'm just gonna read through here. So this is copied and pasted, probably either from one of their guides or from something that so I have tips. So check this out. We write something, right? And then we turn it into our development editor, and she'll say things like this. Typically, a chapter intro section needs to tell the reader some or all of these things. What we're going to learn to do in this chapter, why we're starting here or learning this lesson at this point, how this helps us learn the book subject as a whole, what skills and ability you can expect, and so on. So a lot of times what I'll do is I take her word as gospel, and I'll take it and I will paste. Let me do this. Spell checker, anglais. So you can see that, let's see what we're going to learn. After reading this chapter, you will be able to find most, if not all, SQL Server instances on your network. This will be accomplished using a single command written by 2 well-known security professionals. So Find-DbaInstance was written originally by Scott Sutherland of NetSpy, and then it was improved upon and converted to C# by Fred Weinman, who is he is now a security PFE at Microsoft. Hey, welcome, Shane. So one of the things that comes to mind is I like to first orient the user with something that they might be familiar with that's in GUI format. So that could be SQL Server Management Studio context, or maybe somebody will know about Microsoft Maps. So let's go and look for Microsoft Maps. So what I want to do is look for things that help you find SQL Server instances that have an interesting or pretty GUI. So Microsoft Maps. I don't know if y'all could tell I'm really tired. I don't know what it is. I learned the other day that I had some kind of thyroid problem that makes you super tired all the time, and I was like, man, I thought it was just like, everybody talks about how tired you get when you get older, but I was like extremely tired, and it turns out that I think that that's part of the problem. Oops. Microsoft Maps SQL Server. There we go. Oh, it's Maps singular. Microsoft has been making this map toolkit, and they haven't released it in quite some time, but it used to, oh, check it out, 2015 to 2018. what I would like to do is download it. I'm going to take a screenshot. This is one of the 5 things, and that's actually something else I'm going to list, right? So I'll just keep some little notes. Hello. Okay, yeah, that is the notes, comments thing. So what I want to do is list out the GUI alternatives. I ain't gonna lie, I thought that that PowerShell was magic. One of the reasons that I wanted to write a PowerShell command was with the GUI alternatives. Like Dell's product would return some results. Microsoft product would return some results. Another product would return maybe Idera or something. And it, I had to compile all of that. And I was like, man, PowerShell is so clever. We'll just get all of that. And I was really disappointed. I saw in Slack that somebody was like, I'm running all these different tools and DBA tools included, and everybody's just finding partial. Now, there might be a solution to that, which is that maybe they didn't run it with the right parameters. So we'll see. Let's see. So with the GUI alternatives, yeah, DBA tools, I was hoping they could find that. And we didn't. I want to list that. I want to take a screenshot. What else do I want to do? I don't know. Okay, so let's keep going. That was one of my screenshots that I added yesterday. Okay, so the map's set up. And what's really cool is actually yesterday I found a problem with one of the commands that I was running, which was test DBA connection. And because, I wouldn't have run it for any other reason other than I was writing the book and I found a bug and then I submitted a bug. So as I'm writing this book, DBA tools is getting better as well. Oh, I already had it installed. Check that out. This is a newer one though. All right, fine. Let's see, map. Boom. Let's see. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Honey. Check it out. Database. Hey, it could even find that. Let's try it. First, I'm going to take a screenshot, which, by the way, Snagit is the best thing ever. Because it could wait for you to click on something. You could put a timer in there. You just do like this. Ooh, check this out, watch. Look at Oracle. Or you could do look at SQL Server. Much more emphasized. It's so easy. I love it. This is, Snagit by Tech. I don't remember. It's pretty affordable, but it is pay. So let's collect some inventory data. This is pretty impressive. Let's just go plain old SQL Server. Ooh, yeah. So this is something that would be really interesting to show because we also offer these products as well, or these options. I'm gonna have to turn off my timer. Let me do that real quick. See, I was keeping that before. Time delay. No thanks. All right. That's really cool. Some networking protocols. I wonder what they are. System Center, which I don't have. Scan an IP address range. That always takes forever. Computer names. And, all right. Domain, base.local. I really wish I just named it ad.local. Base control B. Let's see what happens here. This might be too much information. Not for you guys, but for like the book. We'll see. Why do I have two? Okay, I'm just gonna say specific one. Looks like the exact same domain. Okay. And there. Ugh, look at this. Specify the work groups and NT4 domains. LAN manager API, no thanks. Let me go uncheck that box. Okay. All right, so, ooh, that's gonna take forever. Let me ping SQL 2017 and just put from here to here. Okay. Okay. Why? I already did this, right? Oh. Oh, that's why probably. Because I did save and new instead of just save. Okay, close. Cool. Computer name, SQL 2017. This is something that dbatools supports. No? Okay, whatever. Okay. What? Nothing? Whatever. Okay, so I got my screenshot. I like the other one. And this is pretty enough. Let me see if I can make it prettier. I like pretty. It's one of the reasons that I like Mac OS and Windows 10. You know, I don't like AIX. Okay, so there we go. And okay, I think that'll make a pretty screenshot. Oh, so you see how it's gray right here? That aggravates me, which is why I did this. Time delay on 2 seconds. And then that way I can click it, and then that way it won't be grayed out. I don't know if y'all know I'm super OCD, but only about code and computers. My my office is a nasty mess if Lou doesn't pop by and clean it for me. Okay, so that's pretty. I think that'll go nice. What I'm gonna do is save it. Save as. These are all of our current pictures. See, it's very picture heavy. I think that people probably like pictures. I do. So this is chapter 6, image 1. I may or may not use it. You know, maybe I won't, because look what it offers that I don't. I lie, I probably will. Okay, so that's maps. The other thing that I want to do is it's important to build things step by step, right? So what I want is, I want to show the easiest way to use it, right? The fastest. First, show first. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and I actually wrote about finding your SQL Server instances, but I'm not going to click on it because I don't want to like look to my blog posts as inspiration, because I don't want to rely on them. I remember in reading reviews, not necessarily for the Month of Lunches books, but just for other books, they're like, oh, this is just a recap of the blog post, and I never want to have anyone feel like they're just rereading the blog post. So I don't instances DBA tools. So I don't actually look at the stuff that I've written before. So there's a new command to find all of your SQL instances. This was written over a year ago. That is pretty much the last time that I worked with Find-DbaInstance. And so it will, so I'm going to have to refamiliarize myself with it. So let's do, I'm going to import everything. One of the things that I've been busy with is a new module I'm working on called ACAS tools. And ACAS is the DoD's interpretation or something like that of Nessus, which was bought by Tenable. And that was, anyway, they wrote a module and I rewrote it, and then I'm going to add some stuff to it. So as you can see, this force imports all of the modules that I'm working on and reloads my changes. Hey, thanks. Let's see. Late to the gathering. Is that a dedicated markdown editor? Hey, Daredevil. Yeah, so I wanted to write my book using GitHub and VS Code, because I thought that would be super cool and kind of meta. And it turns out that VS Code just doesn't offer as much as this does. So let's see, chapter 2. You see this? Like even the outline is a lot. It exists in this. It's called asciidoc FX. We were offered by the publisher to pick what kind of markdown that we'd like to write in, or maybe not even markdown. It was we could pick Word, we could pick asciidoc FX. I don't remember what else. And yeah, we picked asciidoc FX. Trying to see, let's see what Rob did. Output formatter. What do you mean? That's really, oh yeah, that was the other thing. It was so hard, and whenever it printed my PDFs, the PDFs were ugly. And what I really like about asciidoc FX is this is essentially what it looks like. Yeah, sorry, yeah, they gave us a choice, and yeah, this is what it looks like, and you could pretty much see your book. Whereas with doing it in VS Code, it didn't have these colors, it didn't have that spacing. So we ended up using asciidoc FX, which is an interpreter for asciidoc. Let me see real quick. Rob had written, let's see which chapter, Workdir, chapter 4. Yeah, so it does things like this. What I like about asciidoc is that it's a markdown language that's written specifically for book writing. So yeah, that's why I went with it instead of, I mean, maybe they might have offered markdown, but that feels kind of generic. And this felt very powerful, and you could see, that it is. Let's see like what it looked like. So, you just do this / and then do that, and does it that way. First, show the fastest and easiest way to use the command. That was something else that if you run maps or any type of thing that scans your entire network, oh, I need to hurry up and write this. Security warning. Then it takes a while. And somebody was like, oh, it's taking like 24 hours. But if you're going to scan a really large network, a /8, /16, whatever, it's going to take just forever. Somebody was like, I ran this in my security team. Came and was like, oh God. Yes, anytime that you scan anything in your network, you need to get permission to run this. there are detectors. So first I'm just kind of writing, you know, the way that it comes out of my brain, and then I have to make it pretty. Yeah, I would agree. They actually should be shutting you down. And I remember the first time, I think it was like 2006 or something, I had asked the network team where I was working, I think at that time it was a law firm. I was like, hey, can I run this? And they're like, yeah, why would we care? I'm like, dude, I'm like intrusively scanning. Should there not be a scanner like detecting this and, you know, knocking me off of the network? But at the time there wasn't. But I agree that in a good place that you should be shut down. So this is something that I had written before. And something that's interesting about writing a tech book is, you know, you could just be having a casual conversation. And whenever I start writing, I am all proper. And I'm like, discovering rogue SQL servers can be challenging. And I'm just like, why can't I just write like a talk? And I was told that it was a very common problem. Yeah, totally. You know, what's more concerning to me, Daredevil, is that no place that I've been to has ever had a complete inventory to give me. I've always had to go and find it on my own. Which is, I mean, yeah, and then you take a few months cleaning up, you know, making sure that everything is standardized and everything is backed up. And it's fun, but, oh, that's really cool. You have a SCOM scan for rogue SMTP servers. What about SQL servers? Do you have that as well? That's a really good idea for the SMTP. Nice. What do you need a list of? Oh, the approved one, gotcha. And does your SCOM check look for the binaries or the EXEs? Well, I guess they're the same. Use concrete examples and use cases to reinforce concepts. Conclude with a lab of technical depth. Chapters 2, and this is just, so what I did was I copied the month of lunches. This is probably from our documentation that basically is an outline of how to write the month of lunches. So I'm not going to worry about the lab just yet. I want to use concrete examples. In our book, we talk about how, in chapter 3, we're going to talk about installing a local instance of SQL Server. And so things are executed against localhost, but we do also talk about how, even though we're executing this against localhost, that it treat it like SQL Server Management Studio. We expect that if it's on localhost, that it will be a development or test server, and that it shouldn't be done in production. So let's go ahead and look at so get help Find-DbaInstance examples. So we got 6. Sweet. So let's just do this. I wonder if I need to run as administrator. Ooh, I should put some verbose. I just hit Control-C. I'm waiting for it to be done. Boo, where's my verbosity? There we go, okay. Ooh, check it out. Looking good. Ha ha ha. This is a lab that is dedicated solely to working on DBA tools. So there is a lot. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to talk about the duplicate, because it's not a duplicate. It's just showing different ways that it finds different things. So let me talk about duplicate. Put that in quotes. All right, so that was a lot of mush. Let's do this to out grid view. I would like to know what it's doing in that beginning part. Ha! Check this out. How cool. So you can see this might look like a duplicate, but it's not. Oh, it's not. But these are for sure. Hey, thank you so much. A subscription. Thank you. I appreciate it. Shucks. Thank you so much for the tier 2 subscription. That is amazing. All right, so now we can see, here's the machine names, computer names. This apparently, you know, is like resolved in a different way. This was pretty fast too. And I got a pretty nice network. We talked about our competence. Got a lot of confidence in these. Probably, I would say that default port 1433 gives us a lot of confidence. This was a concoction that Fred came up with. Let's see. We have some that exist that maybe can't be connected to. Like SQL 2000 is on Windows 2003 box, so can't do more investigation. So that's pretty nice. You can see pretty much all of my instances. Looks pretty complete. All right. So I think that this could be somebody's first command, since it's actually our first example and it's pretty quick, and doing it to out grid view. I wonder, should I do the verbose stuff? Have they had a good enough introduction to DBA tools to not be scared off by verbosity? So let's go see. Chapter 5 was what? Writing to SQL Server? I think that this will be... I think that's enough. God, I love this. I love that there's like a book. Okay, so go to 6. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna use this as an example, right? So first run it like this, plain, and then run it like that. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is remind them to do what I did, which is get help Find-DbaInstance -examples. And actually, Rob and I had talked about, how we were going to present the screenshots. Is it going to be PowerShell 6? Is it going to be PowerShell 5.1? Or whenever I referred to PowerShell in a month of lunches, they actually use text output. So that's what we decided to go with for the most part. So let me see what it'll look like with text output, if that will be if that'll be acceptable. Yeah. I think that's acceptable. Let's see what just happens if I do this. Probably nothing good. Hey, that is not bad. This kind of sucks, but oh no, it's just an IP host entry. But before, what was it doing? That's DNS resolution. Oh, no, yeah, okay, so it actually looks that way too. What happens when we do this? Let's see how much more we have to offer. It looks like more, but I could be wrong. I'm concerned about the DNS resolution. I would like to know if it actually is an object. Expand property, DNS resolution. Yes, all right, cool. Wonder if I could use this example, because man, expand property is so good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use this potentially. We'll see. It's an idea. What happens if you do this? I am not sure. Instance name. Nope. SQL instance. Okay, let's see if this works. Instance. Nope. Okay. So you can't do both. Boo. So then that'll come with the, like, if you want the DNS list of stuff that you find. Okay. I need to find out how to do like multi-line. I have some ideas. Now I want to add in, this is Find-DbaInstance. That should probably go up there. I'm gonna move this to our tips page. Close others. Does Manning have a chapter limit before they produce a MEP? You can actually talk to them. What I really love about Manning is that you could just, you know, negotiate it or whatever. If you're like, hey, I'd really like 5, can I have 8? Ours is 8 chapters, and I believe that our MEP is going to come out maybe in July. Sorry, in June. Ooh, I don't want that. Let's see, tips. Hello. Why isn't it? Okay, there we go. Alrighty, then I'm going to close that. Yes. Haha, it's so sweet. Thank you. I'm really excited about it. It's so time consuming that I think that this actually works out well. But man, between, you know, working and writing the book, writing 3 new sessions for conferences by June. What else? There's just like, I'm exhausted. This is like a full-time job. be like whenever you do a presentation, it's scary. Not scary, but it's like intense all the way up until you do it. And then once it's done, you're like, oh man, all right, I'm gonna sign up and do it again. Next time having a kid writing a book is supposed to be the hardest I will never experience. Man, yeah, it's especially so kid plus full-time job plus, because every second, you know, like I have wanted to live stream, which is another thing that's like high on my list. I wanted to develop that, and writing blog posts for, oh yeah, that was the thing, DBA Tools 1.0, right? That's coming out. I need to write. There's so many blog posts that I've had ideas for, but really any moment that I get that's free, I really need to dedicate to the book, because I don't know if you guys are like this, but for me, whenever it piles up too high, then I just go to sleep. Like, too many things to do. A nap sounds amazing, and then I'll just nap to the next day. Why is it showing it? Oh, because I didn't do stuff. Okay. Hey, that's interesting. It knows somehow that this is PowerShell. Blah, blah, blah. Wow. That's impressive, asciidoc. I guess it finds out. When in doubt, nap it out. Yeah, it's and I consider the naps part of the writing. You know, you got to be well rested. Trying to think of anything else. Just writing my outline. I'm gonna take a peek at what I wrote about. Hold on, before I go and cheat by looking at my blog posts, I need to tell a relatable story about getting just IPs and backup locations. For those of you who are DBAs in the chat, have you had, or you know, actually whatever your thing is, because, well, is it possible to have a rogue exchange server? So you have your rogue SMTP servers. Anybody have experience with either with SQL or with anything else finding your rogue stuff? Let me go look up. Oh, I'll do that stuff. Multi-line asciidoc. Yeah, totally, huh? Multi-line. Yeah. It's true about the devs in the other environments. You know, I could actually, I love this. This is really cool. Okay, so what I can do is bring up, like, you know, if you have a development domain without authentication, then use an anonymous. Maybe all of these are anonymous, so go and figure out how anonymous. Haha! This is so cool. Okay, figure out how anonymous each one is. Each method is, and put that in a chart. All right, so then let's go grab a chart from chapter 2. Good old chapter 2. Oh, okay, so percent and then amp. That's how we did it. Okay. Right, so just copied, and now I'm going to paste my little chart. Something I thought was interesting is Francis highlighted, that's our development editor. See chapter 2. It's like whenever you put a picture, draw the reader's eyes to what you want them to look at. So you can see here, note the instance is offline, but can still be modified. I wonder if that should be modified or configured. Modified, good enough. That chart is gonna be dope. Method. Required authentication. Maybe two. In addition to the authentication, maybe the port as well. Whoops. I bet that if we look at each of the parameters, each of them probably deserve a little section. So let's go ahead and look at the parameters. And open up VS Code. And go to find. Man, like why can't I just... Drives me crazy. Something I desperately want in VS Code is a place to put my mouse so I don't have to do this junk. Where I start typing over here because I don't want to like open something. I mean, granted, whenever you click off of it, it doesn't. Thank you so much for your follow as I'm like, code. All right, so if you click on something over here, and then you type in Find-DbaInstance, then it'll come up. But I really want a place to put my mouse. In addition, you'll notice that functions and tests are expanded. That's because it will not search. So it's really cool, but it could be cooler, and I don't know how to do it myself. Oh, all right, check this out. What do you like here? Look at all of this documentation. That is 200 lines of docs. That's a lot. All right, so discovery type. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Make this way easier. You know it's gonna be constrained by no. That's the scan type. Alrighty. Just gonna copy that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll just see how it works. Give each scan type its own little section. And now, I don't know how to enumerate this. Let's see. Enum? No. Let me see. Enumerate PowerShell class. Oh, here we go. Shane's favorite command. Find shit enum. No. I really thought that we had some enumeration. I guess not. Disappointed that, oh, that's because, okay, give me a second. I'm gonna put you on be right back. Because as you can see here, this is just the ACAS. and because that's what I was working on in a dedicated way, and now I need to find shit and add back DBA tools, and my profile might have some confidential stuff, probably not, but let's just see, and I'll be right back. Hello, and I'm back. I think that before it was on cat cam, huh? Even though there was. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right. Dang. Whatever. Okay. So. Oh, I want to keep that. Okay. I'm gonna turn it off of there. This is dumb. Hey, thank you so much, Quirky. All right, let me switch this to that one, and then just remove this. Closed captions have, oh my. You know what? This was supposed to have closed captions, and I never turned it on. I think I'll do that real quick. So sorry. See, captioner. All right, closed caption on. Okay. So now we are going to. Man, I'm so sorry. I blame my little stream deck, and actually that I had set up Workstation X with Cat. And whenever I went back from Be Right Back, it said start talking. But now I have enabled, I believe, Talk to Me Guzman added a captioner, closed caption, that makes it optional so you can opt into it. And that's what I switched to. My only issue, and I filed an issue, is that it keeps a transcription, but deleting the transcription is extremely hard. So if I were to accidentally leave it on, which I've done before, it's just keeping track of everything, of all the conversations, and I don't know who has access to that, and I would actually just like to disable it because I really don't need a transcription. When I upload it to YouTube, they have transcription services there. Oh, check that out. Cool. I see the video preview and it's working. It's really nice. And it's optional. So you can disable it down at the bottom if you would like. So we are here. Oh yeah, what I wanted to do is find shit enum. That's a lot. That's a lot. Enum role members. Get enumerator. Anybody remember the .NET method to enum something? There. Nope. Damn. So close. So close. This is actually some of the code in Find-DbaInstance. Instance. Start talking. Oh, that reminds me. All right. Enumerate.net method PowerShell. Does YouTube give an exportable transcription? We're having trouble figuring out how to publish some of our committee conversations. Oh, what's up, Joey? I don't know. Let's see. Export YouTube transcription. Check this out. Hopefully it's still relevant. What I've found is that a lot of times the information that's out there is outdated. No, I didn't know, and I'm actually curious as well. And plus, I think any amount of time that we can give to talking about the importance of transcription for those that are deaf and hard of hearing is important. So it looks like, yeah, man, there's you can download it in a variety of ways. That's really nice. I wonder if the same is true for Twitch as well. I actually learned about this transcription while watching Tyler code. I was really excited. I'm like, oh my god, Twitch has changed so much since I left a month ago. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, thank God. I think that I'm onto it. I'm just gonna have to go look at some source code. No. Anybody remember the numerator? By chance. There's like sys.enum or something. .NET enum class. There we go. Enum. I think I'm just gonna enum like yes. Okay, what was it that I was trying to enum anyway? Oh, that class. This one. I have no idea if I'm doing this right. Damn it. Whatever. Okay, so let's go look. I don't know the different discovery types. I think that it's probably in our malicious documentation. Discovery type. Scan type, and discovery type. Is it possible that this whole time I could have just Find-DbaInstance instance discovery type? Tab all. Okay. There's a nice way to do this, and I don't know that nice way, so I'm just gonna do it, some brute force. Domain. Are these the same ones as over here? Use control plus space. Hey, thank you. Let's see. Control space. Ooh, excellent. Thank you. That's nice. Just gonna copy paste that business. All right. So check. You know what's nice is that I expected this to be just a writing live stream, but it is also a PowerShell live stream. So again, that is control plus space. I've seen it happen before, but I always forget, and I think I'm gonna remember now. I wonder if you could do this. Yep, cool. All right. So this one's gonna be, I don't know. So I can remember that. That's a discovery type. So I can see discovery type being, something like this. Discovery types. And then, you know, little intro to discovery types, and then 1, 2, 3, and then all. Actually, all is going to come last. Domain, IP range, oops, all. Okay, and then what'll be cool is if we come over here to our outline, we could already see the outline happening. Hey, thanks so much, Shane. Thanks for joining. For this, I will, as I'm writing the book, look at our help, understand what it's doing, and then write it in a more approachable way, as if a friend was explaining. But it'll probably be mixed in with some like technical robotics. All right, so I'm done with that. And then now I'm gonna go and talk about our scan types. And maybe I'll even talk about discovery versus scan. I've already used this, so discovery versus scan, maybe. We can see. You know what? I really liked Joey's way, so I'm going to dash scan type, and then you can practice that. Scan type, space, control, space, and then I could just copy paste. And that's a lot easier. I'm gonna put all last again. And I may not even give that a dedicated section. Or maybe, you know, it'll be just like a little mention of, hey, when you do all, it's gonna be really time consuming. Maybe it's the default, I'll have to look. I also have to consider, this is probably, it looks like, yeah, so it looks like this is in alphabetical order. Do we want to keep it in alphabetical order, or is there a better way for some reason? Like there's one lead into the other and so on. 1, 2, 3. And then you could just see this building. Look at that! Like immediately, what I like about this is that I almost already understand the command better, because it's easy to navigate. And this is interesting right here because, see how it's like so many ones and stuff? I think that what I did with the other chapter was that I deleted that. Maybe it was this one. And then this. I don't like. Yeah, I think I'll leave it like that. We'll see. So you see where it says first show the fastest and easiest way? I want a little intro. I'm not too sure how I'm going to fit it in. Where do I put it exactly? Because I want this, I guess it'll be in the intro section. Maybe just throw, I don't know. List out the GUI alternative, screenshot of the GUI alternative. I want to show the fastest and easiest way. You know what? Maybe I'll do that before the GUI. No, I want to orient people first with exploration. And it might not even be a screenshot. It could be a diagram. Not so good at those. All right. That's what it'll do. Find-DbaInstance, Instance, let's just say. Okay, so first I'm going to show the fastest and easiest way. Then I'm going to go and deep dive into the discovery types because I want to excite people to start and then explain what it was that they just did, maybe. Maybe. And then it's okay to repeat, and it's actually good to repeat. So in here, in this available GUI, I'm going to mention getting permission from the network team. Maybe I'll just call it the infra team. And then I will repeat it here. I think that if I run it, I need to tell them, you'll notice some duplicates, but it's really just finding things in different ways and listing out everything. You can filter it. List out the GUI alternatives. Relatable story goes here. I like this. I can see it happening. Okay, so now in this first little section, well, I can't talk about authentication before introducing it. So I think that what I'm gonna do is talk about this and then, nice, let's put that there. Story. So now we can see here on the left the outline. And then the last thing is going to be a lab. This goes at the top. I think that we should do discovery versus scan, but I'm not sure where. And it might not even be versus. Okay. All right, now that I have pretty much done this, I'm just gonna go look at my old blog post to see the outline but I don't want to get my brain hooked on any of the phrases, so I don't want to repeat what's in my blog. So far, we're set. Sweet. Totally. Cool. Excellent. Hey. Awesome. Okay. So everything that was in here is actually already kind of covered. And oh yeah, the different ways to get a file or to get content, to get a list of whatever. So that'll be part of the lab or part of the examples. Now for the lab, I could actually think of different ways. Get the server list, examples, and then we're gonna look at the so beautiful. Ha! Discovery versus scan. That's nice. Also the warning. Oh, interesting. Haha. This, I believe, was written by Fred. I saw in Rob's chapter that he had this warning, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go take his little. Let's see, that 4 that it was that pretty thing. It was like warning. There it is. Okay, local admin permissions required. That's cool. I clicked on it and it went there. Okay, so that says important. So I'm gonna do an important. By the way, all of the chapters that you're seeing, you know, if you do get the book, you're like, hey, it's not matching up. This is super draft. We actually have only turned in portions and gotten feedback. So we're at alpha, and I believe that it'll go through like 4 more iterations before it gets to the book. And in addition, for the MEEP, that it gets rewritten as it goes through the MEEP process as well. That's the Manning Early Access program. All right, so I'm using this, and I'm gonna be like, important, don't do this. I think it'll be pretty to go right there. I don't know what I'm gonna write yet, because I might even talk to somebody about mentioning that it is a scan. And I don't know if it's necessary to even touch on legality, but I will talk to an attorney to find out. I mean, my assumption is I would never scan this against anybody. I wouldn't scan a network that's not mine and I didn't have the explicit permission. And maybe it could just be said like that. Don't scan a network that is not yours or one that you have not gained explicit permissions to run against. I mean, that's poor anglais, but just get out at the beginning. Okay, like that. Look, it's already pretty. Yeah, even pen testers get permission. I grew up in the 90s. Well, I grew up on computers in the 90s, and yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I did back then that I would no longer do today, for sure. I mean, at the time, it was just funny, haha. My teachers were not impressed, but I was. Hacks. Let's go back to the outline. I like it. It has to be about 16 pages, and I think that this is gonna be adequate. But you know, I want to give more. I want to give more than just these. I'm trying to think of what would be exciting other than, I mean, I'm gonna reword things like the browser, the default, probably throw in, you know, if it talks about Active Directory, then I'll probably throw in an asciidoc screenshot. That would be awesome. It's true. Maybe we could ask hacks for pancakes. How it changed. It would be interesting to hear about the evolution of how it changed. All I know is that I'm super glad I'm not doing pen testing or anything like that anymore. I remember back in the late 90s, I was obsessed with what's it called, Billboard 100, and I wanted to buy their CDs, but I was like, oh, ASP, I wonder, there's a lot of exploits that are available, and so I ran one against billboard.com, and then I wrote to them, and I was like, hey, I want to buy your products, but your stuff is exploitable, and can you please fix your exploit? And nobody wrote back. And then I waited 48 hours, and then I wrote again, and I was like, hey, your stuff is super exploitable, and people can get access to your database. Can you please fix it ASAP? There's a lot of people, you know, that you're like leaking data. And I didn't hear back. And then I wrote to them and I said, hey, I'm just going to contact the local media and let them know that you were told about this exploit and that you haven't addressed it and that all of your users are at risk. And then I got an immediate response back saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It was our intention to, but we're waiting to hear back from the consultant. And then, you know, we'll follow up. And then they followed up and they fixed the problem. And then I decided that I was never going to buy from them anyway, because they probably fixed it and then maybe introduced another bug. But that is absolutely something that I would never do nowadays. So yeah, it was kind of the Wild West way back then. Now I'm just, you know, this is DBA writing a book. It's safe here. Just trying to rack my brain of what could be exciting. What would make this exciting? Aha, running a command. All right, I think that I was surprised that a bunch of people were actually using this to always find their networks, their things, their stuff over and over. Oh, that's a really good point, actually. Let them know this is like a find, you know, you could run it, but not every single time. So let's talk about the intention. I think that this will be buried a little bit. I don't know. Intention. That's not going to be the title, but basically run this once. And run this every so often because it's time consuming. Store it. We don't want to like, we could just say generically store it. Store it. Hey, what's up, Luz? I'd like to listen to the chill tunes, but I didn't charge. Oh, maybe it's finally charged enough. I didn't charge my wireless headphones, so I'm just listening to my chill cows favorites. Store it. I don't know. I'm not really supposed to allude a lot to the next chapter because we don't want it to be we don't want it to be a crutch, but I'll talk to the development editor. Store it. Next chapter, we'll talk about blah blah. I don't know, CMS. Oh, what did I talk about before? Okay, so even though you can do this, is that worth it? Maybe I can even say, so while you can do this, find DBA instance. Maybe I can make it useful, right? The first time, get the stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Because maybe somebody wants extra information. But then that would no longer be here. Find DBA instance to invoke DBA query. You'll want to just, you know, use it to make the inventory more complete. Let's see if that works. I believe that it does. So what I'm going to do is find DBA instance, because the first command that I actually want them to run is just going to be against their local computer. So maybe I can do discovery type IP range. And then what's my IP range? What's this going to prompt me for? Prompt me for something, man. Like, I feel like this shouldn't be allowed because all I said was IP range, but I never said which one. IP range. All IP addresses will be scanned. What is it, like 000 by default? IP address. Boom. All right. 127.0.0.1. This is incorrect syntax, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. This is my blog. So glad you like it. This is Chill Cow. Chill Cow. Actually, you could just look up lo-fi beats relax and study to. Here we go. Lo-fi hip hop radio beats to relax and study to. All right, so that is actually, this is the proper syntax. Fixing that. You don't have to, it's already being cast as a credential object, so you don't have to like recast it. Oh yeah, all right, so I wanted to do localhost, so let's see, IP address. Oh. Find DBA instance, IP address. Maybe this will be the introduction. What the? All right, so I need to do discovery type. Oh, okay. I'll just say all. Let's see how long this takes. It's just doing against one. Too long. Oh God. This isn't working as I expected. As you can see, it looks like what's the point of IP address if discovery type is overriding everything? And discovery type is required. Maybe it's not. Let me take it out real quick and see. But you see, discover. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. No, oof. All right, so I do need to put in a discovery type, and then what do I do? IP range. Ha ha ha! Very nice. Okay, there we go. So this is the one that I'll probably recommend as the first one. That was fast. 838 milliseconds. Really good. Okay, let's see. Invoke query. Whew. DBA query. Let's see if, I don't know if it'll work or not. Interesting. I must have killed my account out of localhost. No? Security. Okay. Not cool. 127.0.0.1, I expect it to work. What? 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 Really? Guess it's because of Kerberos. Does Kerberos not work with IP addresses? I'm shocked and saddened because now I can't, I mean, I don't want to have to be like, do SQL credential. Sweet potato. Also interesting. Boo City. Right. So what I'm gonna do is create my SQL admin account. First I gotta check to see if localhost even allows logins from... Nope, so I need to restart it. Restart. Yes. I don't really like this, so I might not. I don't have to talk about Kerberos, which I'm assuming is what's going on. Because you can't do like, yeah, I think it's by host name. Cool. So it did find my two local ones. This one is SQL Server 2017 and this one's 2008 R2. Oh, and I didn't add it to the other one. All right. So now what I'm going to do is look to see if there's any way for this to work without me passing a SQL credential. For instance, what if it returned the computer name? I bet. No SQL instance. Let me see what the output is. Full name is not going to work. No, this is going to work. Oh, browse reply. Haha. Select object, expand property, browse reply. But now we getting all nasty. Browse reply. Nope. I hate it already. Won't even fit. Ugh. Terrible. I'm surprised though. I'm gonna do a get member so I could see what type it is. I would have thought that we'd have accepted that. Oh. Aha. Pretty cool that we have our own classes though. That is thanks to Fred, who spent quite a bit of time on this bomb-ass command. Alright, so that won't work, and the 127 won't work. That was going to be exciting. Let's look at other things. That'll be exciting. Oh, look at that. No wonder people are doing it. It's our examples are basically telling them that. So what I need to do is express that this is just like a one-time thing. This is really amazing. I was very, very impressed by the fact that DBA tools, let's see what happens whenever we do this. We could actually, there's my little Nook. Cute little baby. You could pipe that right into get DBA database. And I expect that it's not gonna like really work because I just piped every single one and it's trying to connect to a SQL server. But let's say that you do have an OU. We could actually just follow this. And then invoke DBA query, select server name. Probably better to like SQL. I'm gonna add this to the examples. One thing that I don't really know is the difference between just a whole bunch of... I'm gonna have to look at their live thing. What's the difference between the code that you show? Like, how do you pick the code that you show in the chapter itself and then the code that you do in the lab? So I'm going to go to Manning's live book and see how it is that that Don Jones and Jeffrey Hicks did it in PowerShell and a month of lunches.
But I also guarantee that if I don't ask you to be mine, I'll regret it the rest of my life. Because I know, in my heart, you're the only one for me.
What I'd like to do is go to a chapter later on. I'm on the third chapter. Where's all the chapters? Oh, here we go. Okay, so... Oh, look, they have a security alert. Oh, I did want to mention the GPO. I had forgotten about that. So I think that I need to create an issue. So now I'm going to go to our private repo and create an issue for me. Add GPA to execution policy in SHA-2. All right, so let's look at their formatting chapter. See the casual language? Prettier. Old friend. All right, so we have an idea of the commands that are used there, and then let's look at the lab. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so a lab is not actual, like, run this code. A lab is some words. And none of my chapters yet have had a lab. So I'll be like, see if you can complete the following tasks. And then we could do some fun stuff. So I will say, find SQL Servers in your domain with computers with, but that's two withs, but this is just, you know, typing out ideas. SQL in the name. I've already showed them how to find it on localhost. Find only reporting services. Oh, find a SQL server on a non-default port. I think that's a good little lab. Okay, so let's see what they say. Have the table take up a little blah blah. Display a table. Okay. All right, so I think that that's something that we can build upon there. I think what would be really fun is, you know, whenever it gets to print and the difference from what, you know, we're seeing now on the screen and the thoroughly fleshed out one. See, so I've done a lookup for SQL Servers running on machines with get service. Yes, that was actually sort of recommended in my, I guess I'm not on it anymore. Somebody had used WMI on my blog. I'd copied and pasted somebody else's back in 2011, and I agree. I think that get service is a really, really solid way to find SQL servers. Actually, I do wonder if this command, it probably does, because this command even searches UDP, which blows my mind. Let's see. Oh, nice. Yeah. Ours actually even lets you connect. I'm not sure which of the parameters does it. I think I saw one just now that just said connect. SQL Connect tries to establish a SQL connection. Oh, that's really cool. You could specify custom credentials. This finds it other ways. So I think it does, however, whichever one it finds, and it'll connect it from there. Tries to establish. Yeah, I think that it gets that the collection of found servers and then connects to it from there. SQL Service, so it tries listing all SQL services using SIM and WMI, which is essentially probably, I have to guess, what get service relies on. Oh, that's cool. He even talks about, you know, what constitutes the confidence levels. And that's something that I might touch on. I don't know how interesting it is. And so, but maybe confidence. And I mean, maybe I'll just, you know, do a little chart or something. Yeah, so these are all the different scan types. We have SQL Server Browser. So if you go to services.msc, it does. And actually, it does detect non-standard ports for SQL Server. And you can see that. Woo, that's low. Goodness. Let me close out it. Cancel. There we go. Clear. So before I was doing... OGB. You can see here, there's port 1433, but these are other ports that it found. SSRS doesn't use a port, so it's just 0. Oh yeah, so if we look at SQL Browser is a service. It's right here. It's a service that's used if you have SQL servers on a non-standard port. So if you're running default instance and it's port 1433, you can disable the browser. But if you're running a named instance, you'll either need to connect to the port explicitly, or you will need to enable your SQL browser service. Yeah, this will be kind of fun because, you know, some sections I think, like, you know, actually exactly what I just said is going to go in the browser section. So I'll probably transcribe myself talking for the browser section, and maybe even a little screenshot. Make this smaller. No, not too small. No, what'd you do? No, it's just a little section. Try one more time. Oops. Ooh. A little bit of breathing room after that. Okay. So this would be image 2. I don't care, they're actually used out of order. That way people could be like, oh, you know what? That was dumb of me. That's more comfortable. And I could show this in PowerShell, of course, but I like the GUI equivalent. Because I feel like we've been looking at this for, you know, for me, decades, literal decades. And so this is immediately comfortable. I could put a little thingy here. I don't know if this will be the appropriate table, but competence, confidence, I don't know. We'll see. Confidence. Description. Maximum in Kubernetes. Maximum. I don't know, man. This doesn't feel right, but we'll see. We'll see how that chart ends up. That's nice. You know what I could do in the duplicate section? Maybe that'll be a lab. Maybe. I don't know. Show people how to, you know, exclude duplicates using select object unique. That way we get to teach generic PowerShell skills along with DBA tools. I'm pretty excited because I think after this, I mean, yeah, I like that I already have all of the ideas. It'll just be writing to it. So this will not take a trillion years. Like, it literally took me 2 months to write chapter 2. A lot of that was running away, but still took 2 months.
Damn.
What I could do here is talk about where it belongs, right? Like, maybe there's going to be a chart, some sort of chart about first finding, then inventorying, then of stuff. It'll be like, you know, Maslow's stuff. Maybe. feel like scan types are way more exciting than discovery types. And I think I'm gonna try to switch them around. Because you gotta stay excited and interested. I mean, at least to me, this section is more interesting than the other. Discovery types, data source, domain, IP range, all. Yeah, like this is addictive. I think it's cool. The browser, SPNs. Excellent. Yeah, because if you think about it, you know, first it's the type, and then what do you use that type against? Then that would be the discovery type. Actually, I have no idea how other people write a book. So this is just my experience. And if anybody else is writing a book, I would actually love to see it too, to compare the differences. It's kind of like watching, you know, other people do PowerShell, and you're like, oh man, I have a lot in common. There are certain things that are different. But if you guys are interested, I went to YouTube and I was like, hey, YouTube. Writing a tech book, because I wanted to see someone else do it. And then this dude's writing a tech book, and it turned out to be another Manning author.
Write a technical book.
He is writing Vue.js in action. I think that he had a similar timeline. He had talked about that as well. So his book should be out. Publication. Check that out. Oh, hey, this is interesting. So his early access program began in June. This is going to be, yeah, this will probably be around the same timeline, I would guess. Hey, where did you? Okay, there we go. So his is, it began in June of 2017, and then he published in spring of 2018. And I think that that'll be similar. We're going to have our MEEP around June, and then the publication, you know, we have to turn in the entire manuscript in December, which would put it for a spring publication, because they have to send it to the publisher and stuff like that. If you're interested, yeah, this is just writing a tech book on YouTube. And I think that that will conclude my live stream for today. I'm gonna go nap. It's already 4:40 here, which I didn't expect. So thanks everyone for joining.